Welcome to the Signal and Insights podcast. I'm Gabriela Fernandez, your host today. This is a show where we sit down with people shaping how the business grows, sell, and make smarter decisions. My guest today has spent 25 years in the travel and meeting procurements and built Procurigence on an idea, helping buyers buy smarter with nobody's agenda, but only the buyer's agenda. Grant Caplan, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Gabriela. It's nice to be here.
Thank you. And let's start with all of this. When the moment was the realization that the industry didn't need more procurement, but it needed to be smarter in procurement.
Well, we run up against a lot of procurement people that are looking to be better at what they do. So they need a little, let's say, subject matter expertise. Well, if you shrink all that down, it becomes intelligence. And there's some procurement people that are really looking to get further education out of this. Others are just looking for a second set of eyes and so on. But it's different forms of intelligence that they're looking to add to their process. Because the truth is that we all need to learn more about what we're doing and get better at what we're doing. And the moment that we say we don't need any help, and we're basically saying we know it all already. Well, does any of us really know it all already? We all need more intelligence.
Exactly. Yeah, great. Okay, so big word that jumps into your website is doing a lot of work and being unbiased. So there's no suppliers deal, no incentives, no preferred vendors kickbacks. How do you actually protect that independence and how do you get a buyer to see what is worth paying for?
Well, the first part you just answered yourself. The way we protect the independence is not accepting any money from any supplier so that they can be more preferred than another supplier. A lot of times, for example, when somebody sends out an RFP for a large meeting or a conference or an internal meeting or a sales kickoff, they send it to a bunch of hotels because you're going to use a hotel as the anchor of your event. Maybe have a couple off-site events also, but you'll use meeting rooms, you'll use catering from the hotel, you'll use their guest rooms. So when the hotel salesperson sees that RFP come in, if they know that the travel agency, especially travel agencies, they really kind of are required by their model to accept this extra money for one to be more preferred than the other. So for example, the hotelier sees that RFP come in, they say to themselves, I know that that travel agency is a Hilton house. They do business with Hilton, they're preferred with them. It means they're taking a little extra money under the table here for being preferred with Hilton. And that means your list of here's who we think would be good for you might have a lot of Hilton on it, right? And that might be the right one for you, but it might not be. And you don't really know if the advice is clean when they're accepting that money. And a lot of them won't admit to accepting it, but they do. And so to be sure, you want to make positive that you're getting good advice. That's really where we got the idea not to accept that money. And the suppliers are much happier to talk to somebody like us because of that, because they know they have a chance at getting the deal and that they won't be shot down right away because they're not with whichever chain is preferred, because we don't have those. So that's how we protect the independence, is by not having any dependence, right?
Yeah,
Keeps us
great.
independent. And the advice that way can be all about the need of the problem. Whatever the client's problem is, you got to just solve it in the most ethical way with nobody paying extra money. So that's why we do it. But we'd like to think that we bring other intelligence to it also, not just that. We we
Sounds
have a lot of experience. We have a lot of different specialties. I'm HMCC, which is healthcare meetings compliance certified, and so I can do better at healthcare than I can at aeronautics.
exactly, exactly. I have a question for you that into that
Yep.
point, but before we're moving into that, let me ask you this. So, uh, you've made a point that, travel agencies and travel managers can be, quietly inheriting, meetings and events, right? And those budgets were, not necessarily the same budget owner, but it's a different beast at times. So let me push it a little bit further. Isn't it consolidating sometimes, making it I mean, we all have believed that consolidating budgets might be more effective. And where's that logic breaking down?
Well, if I understood your question correctly, consolidation is a way to reduce your cost. And so by saying, hey, we have 5 different meetings during the year that we're going to do, and looking for the right partner for that, you should reduce your costs by having one supplier get more business than just one meeting, right? So it's really effective to do that consolidation as the end user buyer, which is the corporation, not the not the party in the middle like the travel agency or even us. That's that's why we'd rather see what happens is the right thing for the client, for the corporation, nonprofit or profit, doesn't matter. So the consolidation really makes a difference in making anybody more valuable to any supplier. It doesn't matter whether it's staplers or whether it's wireless plans for your employees or whether it's travel. You're still more valuable as a customer and you should get better pricing that way.
Yeah. Yeah,
And better perks too, right?
for
Better
sure.
perks on your wireless plan. Maybe you'll get more international countries that you can call to for less money. On travel, maybe you'll get more upgrades of rooms or airline seats or whatever that you're buying in consolidating mode. And to the
Wonderful.
degree that you can take um, one use of a supplier and use and combine it with another use, such as a business travel daily trip for 2 people, and you happen to use the XYZ hotel, and then you can use that same hotel for a conference. Well, now I'm bringing 2 kinds of business to the same supplier. Great. That's consolidation.
Yeah, and definitely is like that is exactly where the intelligence is coming. I hear you. So you just mentioned the HMCC. You went and earned the healthcare meeting compliance certification, correct? Which most people treat it as a check-in box. And so you clearly seen what happens when people had ignored this. When a company is flying blind on meetings compliance, what does that exposure actually looks in the real world?
There's a lot of exposure. Travel brings a lot of risk to it that people think it's just an airplane seat, but it's not. If you are having a policy where you expect people to take just the lowest fare without regard to anything else, they may miss their meeting because the lowest fare may mean you have to take a connection. Every connection you make in any travel, first flight, second flight, maybe even a third flight, it just exposes you to risk of missing the next flight. Because if anybody hasn't had a late flight on this in your listener group, I'd be surprised. Everybody's dealt with a late flight and the stress that puts on the traveler, as well as sometimes just not making that next flight. And then your hotel reservation's been guaranteed, and now you need another hotel reservation because maybe you were stuck overnight. There's all sorts of risk to that, as well as so the mental health as well as the physical health of the traveler. So, do they arrive ready to work and ready to work productively? Well, sometimes that nonstop is really the right answer, even if it costs a little more. So, compliance to a policy has to be enforced, but you've got to write the policy the way that you expect to enforce it. So, if you're going to just tell everybody who wants to break policy, but and again, it does not matter if you're buying travel, if you're buying office supplies, if you're buying health benefits, or anything else. If you're going to approve all the people who break some policy, then your policy isn't really written properly. So our consulting side of our house gets in and rewrites your policy and says, let's make a policy you intend to live by. But that, again, this is not about just our vertical. This is about any vertical out there, anything that you're buying, any category.
Yeah, wow. Wow, I'm so fascinated by hearing this. We tend to be travelers and we don't know and think of all of these things. And corporations, when you see it in a bigger scale, means more money for sure. So most of your world, I mean, is Fortune Global 500. Massive scale, international politics, programs in spanning languages and geographies. We know that you're fluent in several languages and that you worked in the past with the GBTAs in Mexico and Latin American chapters, correct? So at that scale, what is the first thing that breaks?
The first thing that breaks,
Mhm. It's like when you're having all these different, massive international, you know, exposure with your clients, with businesses, and, like political environments and languages and geographies. What is the biggest challenge? What is happening there in the current environment?
the current environment has brought so many changes to so many verticals in business. And we're just seeing the ramifications of that in our business also. Um, the first thing I think that breaks is attitude. And the moment people's attitude changes, then the moment the way they buy changes. So, for example, when people have economic fear, they're going to buy differently than when they feel economically secure. When they have fear of crossing borders, they're not going to travel as much internationally. And we have a lot of corporate groups that don't go outside of the, let's call it the US passport perimeter, right? Once you need a passport to go somewhere, you're outside the perimeter and you have to be able to get back in. If your group doesn't have 100% US passport holders, you may, justifiably or unjustifiably, have the fear that somebody won't be able to get back in to USA when they come back home. So you may not plan your events as you would have planned them. Maybe you would have planned your incentive trip in the Seychelles in the middle of the Indian Ocean. Fabulous place to go. You sold $1 million worth of insurance plans and you won a trip to the Seychelles. Well, a lot of US companies are pulling back from that a little bit now because they're worried that their travelers cannot get back in. Or if it's the case of Europe, they may be worried that they may not be welcome in Europe and may not have as good of a trip. The
Mm.
first thing that breaks is because of attitude. And once that attitude changes towards other countries, towards fear versus security, uh, so many things follow along, whether justifiably or unjustifiably. But you cannot deny somebody their feelings and their attitude. Just educate them.
Wow. Yes, that's what we all need in this world, expand into
Yeah.
the.
An open attitude means I feel okay about going everywhere, eating different things, doing different things, being around different people. A closed attitude is, oh, I've got to be only around what's secure for me in my immediate little atmosphere. Those are generally not people who travel. People who travel are looking to learn more about other cultures and they have an open attitude. But when that open attitude gets scared, you can see that that breaks so many other things because now they have to find other places to have their events. They have to find other reasons to go places and
Which markets surprises the most to
oh,
the US
surprises us
buyers?
the most.
Uh-huh.
I think right now Asia surprises me the most. They're growing their as a continent, really in general. They've been growing their air travel so much and growing their own people's travel so much because their standard of living has changed so much. So you're seeing, if you look at all the biggest aircraft buys, they're really going. There's a big one that was been made in China of over 500 aircraft. I think the number is 580. If I research it, I'd find out. But that's a lot for one country. It's a big country, but the fact that they're going to need that many aircraft means they're traveling more. Their own citizens are traveling more. There's probably some more tourism going in, and maybe that's down a little bit with the international scene now, but it's still strong. And then you'll see that in India, They're buying a lot of aircraft also, and they're increasing domestic flights significantly. So more Indians are traveling within India and outside because their standard of living has increased. Second surprise about Asia is East Asians are still coming to USA with no questions about their feeling of security while being here, whereas Europeans are not coming to USA as much, corporately and personally. And you see it, it does happen, it's still going on, but it's not what it used to be. And that was a quick change in our marketplace and a big surprise. So there's a lot of surprises at many different levels in the Asia region.
Wow, amazing, amazing. You're clearly trusted, you're clearly the trusted independent voice in this sophisticated, market and buyers. I'm always
Thanks. That's
curious,
kind.
I'm only curious in how to translate this into growth. So, how do you actually find and win new clients like the ones that you have been working up to today? And if you wanted more of those, how would you go about it?
It's really difficult finding the right match of client because the way we do things is the way a lot of others don't do them, but there are others who are similar. So those who are similar often want the same clients as we do. Those who are different, they're getting different clients, and some of their clients would probably be better off with the type of business we run and our competitors that are more similar. Um, the the finding of new clients when you're in professional services can be very different than the finding of new clients when you're selling widgets. When you have widgets, you can advertise them. You can do a YouTube video that advertises your new. Oh, thing I see the most frequently lately is uh, a supplemental battery for your phone or your iPad or whatever to recharge it on the go. Well, I see it pop up all the time on YouTube and on other things. So they're selling their widgets. They're getting clients that way by showing the product and what it can do. We are in professional services. And the way I've seen professional services over the years, it's unseemly to advertise. It's not dignified, right? So word of mouth is the way that we have to get new clients. And a lot of professional organizations really get their new clients through word of mouth. And I mean, doing what we're doing today, a podcast or public speaking, I do a lot at industry conferences and such, and people know what my approach is just by coming to a session. Well, not everybody can do that. So it's a difficult thing to get new clients when you're in professional services. Lawyers, accountants, even advisors in other fields such as yours, advisors in AI. How do you prove through a widget that you're really good at it? We
Yeah.
have to learn to trust you.
Yes, that's very honest, and I appreciate you sharing with us because that's what we hear from a lot of the other founders in many different levels and different companies. And what you mentioned before is, and I remember that you mentioned that you used to write publications, right? And 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 that, there's not as much time to do it anymore. And that so the question that I have for you now is like, so when the picture of growth and all of us that we want more, right? More clients and exactly in that category of the five, Fortune 500 buyers, where does ideally, where is this actually getting stuck in finding the time or is like repeating it or that client has to try it for a little segment? I mean, where is that getting stuck? That they have long-term
It get,
contracts?
It's a good question. A lot of the larger buyers that we talk to, they have an agreement with one of the bigger conference houses. There's big and then there's really small and intimate like ours. The bigger ones have a name that we cannot match. We will never be them and we don't want to be them. We're happy with who we are. So the biggest place where it gets stuck is in reputation. And they have a very strong reputation, our competitors, even though people don't know that a lot of them, if not all of them, accept that extra money to have one preferred supplier over another one, which we just don't do. And so I think getting growth gets stuck in competing with something that's known, even without necessarily them knowing the details about that known supplier of services. We're a reasonably known supplier of services as a small company, but we're not anything like our competitors that are huge. So the biggest uh, problem to overcome in growth of a smaller professional services firm is getting your message out there and showing people who you really are, because really we're nothing more than an advisor. And whenever you hire an advisor, whether it's a legal advisor, an accounting advisor, a medical advisor, any kind of advisor, when you have an advisor, you should trust them. So helping people to understand whether they trust us or not is the biggest roadblock to growth. And perhaps the fact that we don't spend a lot of marketing money because we believe it's better to be quiet and strong than it is to be loud and empty.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. So now let's talk in a little bit about more of the future. So you already, like mentioned it, and it's like everything is changing fast, and the political instability, the, I mean, the, the conditions, the price in the fuel, right? Uh, Companies, whether or not they're going to come to the US or they want to travel less, or whether or not they want to go to certain destinations, live out of the country. Uh, so if you put all this together, what would it be, how would it look in the next, year or, 18 months? How would it look for the corporate traveler and the meetings that, and these buyers that, they're trying to be smarter, or do they have to adapt into all these changes? How do you see this going?
Well, we all have to adapt. And whatever is thrown at us out of our control, we have to learn to work with, because it's not like we have that much of a choice. So over the next 18 months, I think you'll see people getting used to this new international situation. Hopefully I'm so hopeful that you'll see the end of these awful wars that are going on, and displacement of people, and placing fear into people's hearts in their daily lives. Hopefully that will be finished, and that will flow upwards to the rest of us, because we'll feel more comfortable to move around the world, and we'll have more people feeling comfortable to come to events and meetings that they wouldn't have gone to. So many have been canceled because of this. And hopefully the world will open up in 18 months, because enough dust has settled.
Yes.
And if you're a digital nomad, you can always find a great place to live. I mean, my gosh, you could go to Colombia right now and have a very peaceful life, and have delicious food and lovely people and great art and great heritage, and you could be surrounded all by that as a digital nomad. Would you want to be in the middle of cities that are getting bombed? Maybe
Mhm.
not.
Exactly.
It's right. And you also have to take the media's evaluation of this with a little bit of truth beyond what they give, and know that they only give you what they want to give you in order to get your attention, and
Exactly.
know that there's a lot more behind it
Yes.
than what they show you. And all those people that they're talking about that are the villain aren't really a villain. It's just their government that might be a villain. And they all want to just go home at the end of the day and have a happy life, and love and care in their lives.
Yes. Yes.
So over 18 months, hopefully we'll see more understanding of that.
It's like you just open so much more conversation. It's like I can even like, keep on talking about the nomad living and the entrepreneurial into that category, but maybe we can leave that for another episode. uh,
Yeah, well, we can bring the AI factor into travel also if you want to, because you're in AI, I'm in travel. We could have a great discussion about that.
yes, for sure. We can have another episode about that. But now let me get you something, like I know that you've been working in this industry for 25 years. So you've had hundreds of contracts and multiple business done, build a business. And you sound with so much passion for what you do. So let me ask you, is like, what is the thing that is still gets you in the morning that is like so motivated to like keep on doing this? And what would it be the problem that you would like get resolved and done?
Well, the number one problem I'd like to resolve is the problem of clean, good advice. I think everybody who gives advice should give clean, good advice. I really believe in this. The people on my small team believe in this. We all are very transparent about advice, and we wish everybody were. So if I could solve that problem, I'd be very happy, and then everybody would be on a nice level playing field in this world, and it would be more fair. So that would be the number one problem I would solve. I'd like to think that just by being an example, our firm solves that every day, little by little by little by little. Just by showing people what the possibility of the world is and letting them see, there is an alternative. Every day I wake up, I'm so glad to go to work because I believe in what we do. I believe in travel opening up people's minds and helping them understand other cultures. Even if it's within the same country, there are multiple cultures, and you should be using travel to get a little bit of this time with somebody else. And whether it's on a bigger level as interacting with another culture or on a smaller level interacting with one person, they're both valuable, and getting people together is really, it's a fun mission to have. So every day I wake up and I'm happy to do this. And we do business transient travel as well as we do meetings and events travel and incentives. So we're one of the rare houses out there that can advise on both. We get involved in both of those issues every day.
Oh,
So talk
fantastic.
about a motivator. That's great.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Yes. I can see your passion for exploring the world and sharing the people, enlightening people to go out there and explore and learn and, have new experiences and live it for yourself. Don't just trust, the media, the magazine, or the review. Thank you.
Right.
Grant, this has been such a joyful conversation. Your perspective really means a lot, to advocate for the buyer and seeing the intelligence and procurement. And it's not just a process. So that's exactly what we do in this show, sharing. People can have different growth and perspective and different ideas. And for those that are like watching this, recording this podcast, where can they find you and where can they connect with you if they want to?
Well, there's always the good old LinkedIn. If you look up my name, J. Grant Caplan, there aren't too many of them. I don't think there are any others exactly like that. And you can look up Procurigence. And if you go to that domain.com, procurigence.com, you can find us there. I'll be speaking at an event called CVent Connect in Nashville, one of the bigger, more important conferences of our year in our industry, because it revolves around a software that we use for meetings and events that really enables our lives in those meetings and events, and it uses AI just like you use and you promote. So it has some AI component, but it also has that human component. We all want to do that. So that's a great conference. I attend a lot of others like IMEX and IBTM. So if you're in the travel industry watching this, hopefully we'll find each other. And if not, give me a call, give me an email. It's easy.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, Grant, again. And that's a wrap for our audience. And we truly appreciate your time and you being generous to meet with us. And we're just like leaving it here. And for those that are listening, if you like this episode, please give it a like and subscribe. Thank you, Grant.
Thanks for having me, Gabriela. It was nice to have our discussion.